Tuesday, October 24th, 2023 meeting. This is a hybrid meeting, hopefully. If you're calling in, you have to hit *6 to mute yourself and unmute yourself. So first thing we have to do is do a roll call.
Larry Keane here.
Robert Hensley here.
Ryan Murphy here.
Heidi Conley here.
Jean Lee here.
Steve Feeney here.
Brian.
Sullivan.
Brian Sullivan here.
Thank you, Brian. We're just waiting for Andrew. He's getting set up. So if anyone's here for 2385, 12 Foster Ave has been withdrawn.
Right, you just read it to the record and go on the withdrawal.
That means, we can withdraw without prejudice, right?
Right.
All right, so we're gonna start with C, 2385, Ben Lamora. Petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to construct two 1 foot 11 by 7 foot 11 extensions, replace the existing 6 foot 6 by 7 covered side porch and construct a 6 foot 6 by 7 second floor addition. Above it, a 30 foot by 7 foot 11 second floor addition on the property located at 12 Foster Avenue, which is further identified on the assessors maps as being on parcel M090602 and is located in the R3 zoning district. So we have a motion
To accept the withdrawal.
to accept the withdrawal without prejudice. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Robert Hensley, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conley, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeney, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
All right, that's done. Now we'll wait. Oh, there he is. I see him.
He was at a conference in Boston.
I know, he told me earlier.
Yeah.
He must have been late.
Let's do it. Whatever you been.
Which one?
The first one.
I guess I can, right?
Yeah, he's almost
So,
ready, right?
2378A, Stephen and Shelley Broadley. The petitioners are seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to raise the existing house and construct a new 52-foot by 28-foot two-story dwelling on the property located at 15 Newport Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on K12 1510 and is located in the R3 zone. Name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Carly Tobias. I'm from Rockwood Design, their project manager. I'm here representing 15 Newport Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts.
Okay.
All right. So we are doing a raise, R-A-Z-E, and rebuild to make it meet FEMA requirements that will be built on pilings. This was also approved at conservation already with Stenbeck and Taylor. We're making the front conform and increasing the side setbacks and conforming in the rear. We're making the house align on both sides.
Have any questions from the board?
No, that's pretty straightforward to me.
Any questions from the audience? Seeing that there's none. Andrew, you there? Oh, I have that already covered.
I am here. I'm like trying to manage this in a couple different ways on my phone and on my laptop at the same time. I'm having a bunch of technical difficulties, but this, what Carly said is right. This is a non-conforming lot, non-conforming structure. They're going to propose to demolish it and rebuild it. The house they're going to rebuild is going to conform with all floodplain requirements, and it's going to be less non-conforming than the structure that is currently on the site.
Awesome, thank you. Bob, you have anything?
No, I agree with Andrew.
Okay, anything from anyone? Seeing that there isn't, I'm going to move that we close 2378A, Stephen and Shelley Erdley, 15 Newport Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Robert Hensley, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeny, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
And I move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for a special permit subject to the conditions. This project may require compliance with the floodplain bylaw, a building permit, a certified as-built conforming to the requirements of 305-1012, and a certificate of occupancy. And the board finds all of the 10 general conditions associated with the special permit to be fulfilled, based on a finding that the applicant's proposal to raise the existing house and construct a new 52-foot by 28-foot two-story dwelling on the property located at 15 Newport Street, as shown on a certified location plan by Stenbeck and Taylor, Incorporated, dated 6/20/23, Richard Savant, PLS. Pricing, set of plans dated 2/9/23, Rockwood Design, 9 pages, meets the special permit criteria of section 1012 of the bylaw. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Robert Hensley, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeny, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Thanks.
Yep, have a great night.
You too. So we have 2384 SCM Realty LLC. Petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1109 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to create a 20-foot by 20-foot accessory apartment within the new single-family dwelling under construction on the property located at 769 Ocean Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel L090604 and is located in R3 zoning district. Name and address for the record?
It's John Cashman, 185 Colonel Hunt Drive, Abington, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So I'm here today to hopefully get permission to build an accessory apartment along with a single-family home that I think meets all of current zoning and setback requirements. So the new apartment will be 20 by 20. The main house is 24 by 44. So I think it meets all of the size requirements as far as, I think it's a little under 40% of the size of the single-family portion of the house. And hoping to get started in January, February of next year. And that's it.
All right. Andrew, you have anything to add?
No, it seems like it's under 40% of the house, and it's all obviously going to be elevated, and really this comes down to the ZBA.
All right, thank you. Anything from the audience? Anything from the board?
Nope.
Bob, you have anything to add?
No, I just gave you a couple of draft motions and the mandatory conditions.
Okay. So I'm going to move that we close 2384 SCM Realty LLC, 769 Ocean Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Robert Hensley, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeny, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Thank you. I'm going to move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for a special permit for an accessory apartment. Subject to the conditions, this project may require compliance with the floodplain bylaw, a building permit, a certified as-built conforming to the requirements of 305-1109, certificate of occupancy. The board finds that the 10 general conditions associated with this special permit are fulfilled also. Included will be the accessory apartment in the premises shall be equipped with approved water conservation devices, including low-flow shower heads and water-efficient toilets. Special permit for an accessory apartment in a single-family dwelling shall terminate upon the state sale of property or transfer of title of the dwelling. The new owner shall be required to apply for a new approval of a special permit for an accessory apartment and shall submit a written request to the SPGA. And recertification of the owner occupancy no later than January 31st each of the following years. Based on a finding that the applicant proposed to create a 20-foot by 20-foot accessory apartment within the new single-family dwelling under construction on the property located at 769 Ocean Street as shown on a site plan by Mackenzie Engineering Incorporated dated 1/15/21, revised 1/21/21, and on the Cashman Beach House plans, house and in-laws, new construction by KR Architecture and Interiors dated 6/13/23, 10 pages. Since the petitioner project meets the special permit criteria in section 1109 of the bylaw. Meets. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Rob Hensley, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Cohen, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Feeney, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have
I like it all.
2386, Amy Gilliman. The petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to modify the previously approved special permit, 2020, to construct a 66-foot by 30-foot breezeway and attached garage, and a special permit under 305-1109 to create an accessory apartment within the proposed addition at the property located at 556 Pleasant Street, which is further identified on the assessed maps as being parcel 170425, located in the R1 zoning district. Name and address for the record.
Hi, Amy Gilliman, 556 Pleasant Street.
Go ahead.
So we wanted to construct a 3-car garage with a breezeway and an in-law apartment above.
Waiting for Andrew. There we go.
Sorry about that.
So that the red line is what you're looking to do?
Yes,
So that,
that
can I,
was,
you want to help here, Amy, at all?
Yes, please.
So
Thank
they're
you.
gonna be, the original plan was to build a detached garage. Now they are going to do an addition. So it's not gonna be a detached garage, it's gonna be connected through, a conditioned area. Everything's gonna be kind of part of the same house. So, it's an addition, it's not a detached garage at this point. So, they're looking to do an addition with, an accessory apartment in it.
So, we're not really modifying the 2020, right? It says you're
Well-
modifying the previously approved permit, like, from 2020, you're going to modify. That's what
I
the
mean-
application says.
I don't know what the, essentially if it's a new special permit or if you're modifying the existing special permit, she's still extending and altering a non-conforming structure.
The modifications are usually a new special permit, and they'll reference that it's modifying if it's going to be modified.
So,
So this is an amended special permit, basically, Andrew?
Essentially, I mean, you'd have to ask Nancy as to actually the technicality of it, but,
You can't really modify
I
a
don't know
previous special
what she-
permit
how she
because that
went through it.
carries its own case number.
right,
So this is a new
So
case number?
it's a new case number, as all the other ones that we've modified.
Right.
All have new case numbers, and somewhere in the body of the decision, it would say that if it were, that you
Reference.
modified this. I didn't realize that the addition had been almost done, completed. So I would have just put it as a straight new one.
Oh, okay.
to-
Oh, I don't think, the addition hasn't been started.
It has,
The
it's been
original.
started.
Oh, the original.
The previous one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Not the garage.
Oh, that's, the original's done, right? I mean,
And
Not
to
quite
raise
done,
and
but the garage would be the new part.
Yeah, it's substantially there, they're adding on to it, but where this is a new application, why don't we just go with this?
So
No,
I
we-
was just wondering, I
yeah.
just wanted clarification, because it says in the old one, you were to raise an existing barn and construct a 50 by 70 garage barn on the property, so that never happened.
right.
Not yet, we have to wait for you guys to.
So that's
I
what-
can hear you.
I think we're waiting for you to approve it.
Right, I'm just saying, that was from 2020.
So I think that's
what I'm
what the
reading off of
amended
2020.
special
That's why
permit is.
that's why I
Okay.
wanted to clarify. that it's
Thank you.
a
Right, I
separate
think that's
thing.
why we're amending that special permit. Because that's no longer going to happen. So, all right.
3 years into this, so.
Do we have any questions from the board?
No?
Do we have any questions from the audience? Name and address?
My name is Chris Diorsay, 142 Old Main Street.
Go ahead.
I'm here to the project, and I have a...
Yeah, could you grab give him a microphone? You can go up to the,
Our only other mic is working.
all right.
Is this one working? Yeah. I have a question regarding the original special permit and the conditions that were requested at the time 3 years ago. And condition number 1 was, prior to a building permit being issued, the petitioner shall provide a plan stamped and signed by a land surveyor. And my question is, has the building permit been issued from the permit 3 years ago? And has that stamped surveyed plan been received?
Andrew, is that that's part of the package, right?
Let's see, I'll get the original decision here. I believe what they're referring to was if they were going to build a detached garage, then the detached garage would require an as-built beforehand. But this is not a detached garage, this is attached, so. But let me look up that decision.
My memory
We
from
have a
the,
site plan on here.
I'm looking for a site plan showing that it's no more non-conforming than it is now. And there isn't one on the online database. And on the meeting 3 years ago, there was no site plan provided showing the new work. And this board conditioned the special permit on a subsequent submittal of a stamped, signed survey. And my question is, it looks like that was never provided.
What's the date on it? So we have this here, an as-built. I mean, you can come take a look at it. Andrew hopefully will be able to pull it up.
That's an as-built for the septic system. It does not show the setbacks, the new work, the distance of the new work to the property line. That is septic system only.
Did you ever have a as-built done?
They said when the work was done, we have a surveyor come out and draw the whole thing finished.
After the fact?
I think the building department drew it on for now.
That's, so we did, I will say that we did get a initial, we didn't get an as-built.
You have an as-built, yep.
You can't do an as-built before the thing is built, correct, right?
Right.
So, they did give us a surveyor, a plan here, beforehand.
So that's the plan that we're looking at right here. It says,
Well, we've seen, you know, we do have an as-built, or.
Oh, the septic plan.
Of the septic system with the proposed, addition here, and then they're doing the other proposed new addition here where the existing garage used to be. So, I mean, this is what we have right now. It's all proposed. I wasn't going to require her to get an as-built done until all of, and until whether or not I knew the ZBA wanted, if they wanted it for this, this addition or not. I always hate making people pay for a land survey and an as-built if they're gonna do more work incorporated with what current work they're doing, so, but that's up to the board if they want an as-built.
Andrew, is it fair to say, based on your ability to read a plan and look at this proposed addition, that this addition is well within the setbacks permitted?
She did, that's it, right there.
Absolutely, Brian.
No,
That's correct.
They drew the plan.
Thank you.
And so that plan was drawn by Stenbeck and Taylor or whoever, I can't see.
Yes.
Or Patrick Brennan.
It looks like this plan was drawn by an engineer named Patrick Brennan, who is
Yeah.
a civil engineer, not a surveyor, as required in the condition. And the date on this plan is December 1st. The ruling from this board said prior to a permit being issued. So my question is, was the permit issued without a stamped, signed survey, as requested by this board?
But I think if Andrew was comfortable with what he received, he can make the call that
Thank you.
that meets the zoning standards.
Is your
I think
concern
that's what
that
he's saying.
Thank
They're
you.
not gonna make the setback? Is that your concern?
My concern, and I think Mr. Galvin agreed with me at the time 3 years ago, is the purpose of the public hearing is to provide some level of transparency. All the previous applicants had signed, stamped surveys,
Right.
and for some reason, this project didn't have one then and doesn't have one today. So I'm wondering, that seems like a reasonable request, and it was a specific request from this board.
So the red line drawing on there, who did that? Is that?
I did that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
I did that. I scaled it. I had I scaled the exact area of where it was going to be, and it's just a proposed situation. It is certainly, I mean, you can tell just by looking at the plan, it is not more non-conforming than the original house. It is off of the setbacks. It's far more than 20 feet from the sideline. It's far more than 40 feet from the rear. The addition certainly is not non-conforming.
I agree, you can see all that, so, and you're comfortable with this, Andrew?
I am comfortable with this, and I've spoken with Amy, and she is well understanding that she is going to need to hire a professional land surveyor to get a as-built of the conditions of the site and the structure after it is completed. Whether or not the ZBA allows this addition or not.
I thought we had a plan in there from Stenbeck and Taylor as well.
That plan is there, but it doesn't show the new work.
Oh, it doesn't show the new work.
Do we have the date of the building permit that was issued 3 years ago?
We don't have, I don't believe we have the building permit with us.
Andrew, do you have that?
I'll get it.
Thank you. Are we gonna do a site visit here?
Let's go.
Yeah, is there another cottage on the property that's,
There's like a little shed.
It's a shed, right?
I'm just asking, is there a cottage on the property that is attached to the septic system somehow?
No, no.
Or there's,
No,
it's not?
there's just a little shed. It's not attached. There's no water or anything.
Shed's on it. Is that on the plan? Oh, far left. Yeah.
Is it on there?
It's not on the card, but it's on the plan.
He says it is.
The far left corner there.
Bob, do you want to comment on that? Well, you made a comment, so I'm just kind of,
In terms of the special permit to modify the house,
yeah,
this is completely up to the board.
right.
I think so.
I saw the plan. I saw the plan and I saw a cottage and I thought I saw a septic as-built with a septic connection to the cottage.
No, absolutely not.
I was there today, I didn't see it.
I went by myself. Can I see that? Your plan, ID here?
Yes.
I'm too lazy to open it.
Well, I'm used to the, so the cottage is just like a shed, is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
yep.
Okay.
It's not a cottage, it's a shed, right?
Yeah, it's a shed. It's just a shed.
Yeah.
There's no water or anything.
So other than as-built, which if Andrew's comfortable with that, I'm sure the board is going to be comfortable with
Thank
that.
you.
Is there other questions that you have?
One more request, and I'm wondering if the board would, in considering this project, I don't know if you're familiar with the site, but also in that ruling, it would be helpful if Andrew could put up the ruling from 3 years ago. It was on the screen a moment ago, and the conditions of the ruling. And it was determined that the Zoning Board of Appeals has found that the requirements of 305-10.12A, 1 through 10, have been fulfilled. And I would like to draw your attention to number 9 of that section. And that section says, the extended or altered use or structure will not be more detrimental or objectionable to the neighborhood. It's been 3 years, and we're asking to extend the permit, and I'm hoping that the board will consider that provision of the bylaw.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. There's a fan behind me, I can barely hear you.
Yeah, if we could lower that fan, that would be terrific.
That would be awesome.
No, thank you.
It's automatic?
Cold.
Brian will melt, though, we can't.
So,
They're right up there.
305-10.12.
Andrew's got it up on the board
Okay.
there. You should be able to see it here. So which one are you questioning?
It's
Number
not a good,
9?
number 9.
The extended altered use of a structure will not be more detrimental or objectionable to the neighborhood. Is that your question?
No, it's a request that you consider that provision of the bylaw when evaluating this applicant. The permit's been open for 3 years, and it looks like they're asking for an addition or extension to that permit.
So just so not to be confusing here, Andrew, basically what we're saying is they're not building the accessory garage or barn, and they're building a whole new permit will be applied for this, and this is why we have a new special permit.
Yeah, essentially, instead of doing a detached garage on site, which they had, and they were gonna knock down and rebuild, as part of this project, instead, they decided to knock it down and rebuild it as an addition to the existing house and have it be an attached garage. That way, they would be able to do an accessory apartment above it and have a little bit more leeway with what they could do with the property. It's not an attached, or it's not a detached accessory apartment, it's an attached accessory apartment and stuff that we kind of do all the time, so, it's not a special consideration, in my opinion, but, you know, it's up to the board whether or not they want to allow it in this area.
So can you pull up the plan that you just saw, the plot plan that we just saw from Bavor? I can't even talk right now.
You sound like me.
As-built?
Not that, the old one that you just had up on the screen. Andrew, thank you. I know it's tricky, sorry. No, not that, the other one.
Do you want the one from the very original
Yes,
permit?
yeah, sorry, I should have clarified that.
Right. I'm looking for my laptop and
I'm
it's.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about
It's
that.
a little bit different than.
Andrew, it should be in the file with the other files.
All right.
You talking to me?
It should be with everything.
Not in here.
No, on the
On the
electronic.
screen, okay.
So I guess my final question is the board satisfied that the conditions have been met? Condition number 1, prior to issuance of a permit, a certified stamped survey shall be provided.
Well, if they provided this, which it seems like they did, that correctly shows the addition on there.
Prior to is the question I had.
Prior to what?
Issuance of the building permit.
So even if we do something here today, it still goes through Andrew, and then Andrew does that. So we can say that, yes, that needs to happen, and then Andrew will make sure that it happens, so.
Right.
yeah.
So that's my question. Did that happen?
Did that happen on the original? I'm going with, if Andrew was satisfied with what he.
Yeah,
had at
if
the
you
time
bring
of the
in a
permit,
plan that
no.
Andrew's satisfied with, some people come in with mortgage plans. You know.
No, I understand.
If he's satisfied that he feels that meets the setbacks and the restrictions, he's ultimately the one that decides on issuing a building permit.
I understand.
And you also have to remember that if Andrew is looking at this site and he's saying it clearly is within its dimensional needs.
He's not worried about the setbacks on this, so that's why he issued.
So are you
As far as
concerned
it
about the
being-
setbacks, or what is your,
I'm concerned about the authority of this board.
okay. Fair enough.
And this board set out a very specific condition
Yep.
which wasn't met. And you're saying it seems to be okay because it's conforming. Well, it probably is conforming, I agree. But that isn't really the point, because every other applicant, I've presented to this board 4 times on my own and attended other meetings. And every other applicant, not a lot of them, not most of them, all have a very highly developed site plan showing the new work, the distance to the setbacks and the property lines. And we just don't have that here. And that was a specific request of this board, and we still don't see it 3 years later.
Sir, if I may, you are elevating form over substance. They've submitted a plan stamped by a registered engineer showing that the proposed addition will more than comply with setback requirements, and the building commissioner has a level of comfort sufficient to issue the building permit. And I don't see how this applicant is not being held to the same standard as other people. We're talking about a 4.5 acre lot and an addition that is well within the setback requirements. I don't understand your point. It more than meets the requirements of 305, 10, 12, 1 through 10, more than meets them. And you're seeking to hold this person to some standard that just doesn't make any sense.
No, my question was, have the conditions been met? And the board is saying that they have been met.
They've been more than met, sir.
Thank you.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have anything? Andrew, you can't pull us up on Google Earth from where you are, can you?
No, I can.
Oh, you can.
Was there on that other, I don't mean to belabor this, but I have an issue with this. So, the cottage, I'm going back to the cottage. It's not stamped as, on that plan, it was not, doesn't say a shed. There's a septic cover over there. Was at some point there a connection to septic,
No.
cesspool? Never?
No, it's not a cottage. It's just an empty shed. There's no walls, there's no, nothing.
So it
There's
says
no
on
water.
your plan, though, what we're reading and what was submitted prior, it says a cottage. So now you're
I don't
saying
know
it's
why
a
they're
shed. I'm just
calling it that.
asking.
Yeah, it's just, there's no water, no septic, no nothing. It's just basically a falling apart
And the plan
shed.
that Andrew just pulled up, the previous.
Like, what's the definition of a cottage?
That would be up to you to figure that out, not me.
Because there's like no sink, no faucet, no tub, no toilet.
So this is the current property
No
right
electric,
here,
there's
Andrew?
no electric.
And if it's an issue, can't we just, in the conditions say?
It's a shed. She's saying it's a shed. So
I was there.
she's-
I
Even if it
understand.
was written as a, even
I
if it's
get
written as a
it, I
cottage,
get
can't
what
we
you're
just say
saying.
that a
She
condition
said
there
it's
can
a
only be one
shed,
accessory apartment
like
on
I
the
say it's
property?
not, so it's like,
And it
it
Well,
says on our plan.
You submitted the building card today. There's no mention of a shed, of a cottage on the building card.
I don't know why they call it a cottage.
It's probably just a
not.
mistake was made on the plan. Because it's a shed.
There's
There
no
certainly is
nothing
not
in it,
a
nothing.
cottage.
Right.
There's not a cottage or a secondary dwelling unit on this property. I can assure you of that.
There is.
There is?
Jesus, back, zoom out.
Hey, Andrew, can you zoom out a little bit to see the whole property by any chance?
Can you show us the shed? Well,
It's in the trees.
to the left-hand side.
It's not a cottage.
No, address the board, guys.
Can I go next?
Yeah.
My name's John Gibberti. I live at 546 Pleasant Street. I live next door to Amy, the applicant.
So is that what we're talking
It was a cottage back at one point in time. It had a chimney. This property was owned by the Ballsbaugh family. I don't know if you know the history. Amy and I used to talk about it when they bought the property. Allen's family built this house in 1820. It was originally a cape. It was added on to over the years. It became what it was before Amy and John altered the back and came and got the special permit. That separate building, I would equate it with a shed. Back before Amy bought the property, I looked at it, I contemplated buying it. It had a chimney back in the day, but it's a shed. Nobody's disputing that it's a shed. It's not a dwelling. I don't know that it ever had electric or any kind of sewage. You
There's
got it.
no electric.
You got it. So, not to harp on this, on the requirements that Chris brought up previously, but as I read them, the site plan, and I get that Mr. Sullivan thinks it's form over substance, but the site plan, as I read the requirement, says it will show new and existing building setbacks, which we've covered, which obviously you guys are comfortable with. It also adds parking, grading, drainage, wastewater, and landscaping, okay? So that septic plan doesn't come anywhere near any of that. So as an abutter, I mean, this property, Amy's property line is probably, I came before you guys back in 2013, my wife and I had to come with a stamped plan. Nobody gave me the option. I didn't get to draw on a septic plan, so I would like to see, that engineering plan, because I'm concerned that this neighborhood, if you know it, it's all clay. There is no drainage, okay? I think Amy will tell you that they had a lot of trouble with their septic. I mean, they had to redo it. It seemed like they redid it a couple of times to
We
get
had
it
no
right.
problem with the septic. They didn't redo
You had
it.
3 different companies come in and work on it, but
But
I mean,
that wasn't, no, Joe
Okay.
Kehoe did it. He's the only one that did the septic.
okay.
Nobody else.
Regardless, the drainage in this part of town is terrible, and I'm concerned. They did raise where that back patio is. This property used to have, believe it or not, back at the turn of the century, in the early 1900s, the prior owner told me that his grandfather scraped off the topsoil and created a clay tennis court, which you used to be able to see when you looked in the backyard. These guys have raised the level of this property significantly. I would say 6, 8, 10 feet. They brought in more than 50 trucks full of fill. So, you know, when you talk about this plan, I'm terribly concerned about it because I want to know about the elevations, because when this thing goes, you know, it's going to point towards my house. And for the record, I want to be clear, my wife and I have no issue with Amy replacing her barn, okay? What I'm worried about is the elevations, is the elevation of the yard, the material that's going to be brought in to support this structure, and what it's going to do to the drainage and whether it's going to impact my property, okay? For the record, I'd like that on the record. You know, about the building permit, I do have some questions. Like, has anybody on this committee been by this property since this application has been submitted?
I was by today.
Okay.
Today.
So you've seen the condition of the property with the 18-wheelers?
It's under construction, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were doing an addition, do you think your house would look like that?
It didn't have 18-wheelers. I did do an addition, and it didn't look like that.
And this septic plan here was approved and stamped in 2020. So the system is correct. This system has been installed in accordance with the approved design plan, revised April 16, 2020. So she has basically a 3-year-old septic system.
Right.
There's no problem with the septic.
So is that septic going to support an apartment as well?
There's
that a-
only 2 bedrooms in the house. It's a 5-bedroom septic.
I don't know that, Amy. I've never been in your house, so I'm asking the board. I'm asking them if they've,
We should address the board, guys, not each other, okay?
okay.
Oh,
The
sorry.
Board of Health handles septic systems.
Did they weigh in on this at all? Don't they usually go?
They usually do, but they
request that?
didn't.
What?
They haven't.
They've approved for a 5-bedroom septic system, and what she's proposing is a 5-bedroom home.
So how long have the trailers or whatever they are been, how long have they been there, honestly?
I'm not sure. It might be 2 years. I'm not sure.
It's longer than that.
3 years?
What is the purpose of them?
It's storage. The
For?
architect built the addition the wrong height. We were supposed to have storage above that. So we were hoping to have our garage and use that for our storage.
The stuff in there is waiting to go in the garage?
And the house.
So was it this, you took down the barn?
Yes.
Was the stuff in the barn? Because it looks like they're not in the barn, the stuff is there.
Some was in the barn. The barn was actually hazardous. The building inspector, I think it was Dave, was afraid to walk into it.
I have some issues with this. I think that, I understand that Andrew thinks that that is fine, but I do know that we do require a stamped plan, and I think it should be, my own personal opinion is I think we need to have it prior. Everything needs to be laid out just like everybody else. And whether the board agrees or not, that's up to you all individually, but that's how I feel about it. And there just seems to be a lot of moving pieces to this. So there's a lot of things happening on this property that have not been identified in any plan. The plan that you did submit is not labeling things properly from before. So I just, you know, that's what I would like to see, so that's my opinion.
I agree with Heidi. I think we should have another site plan. Well, I'm
Stamped-
new, but
stamped engineer.
stamped plan.
Andrew, would it be too much to ask to have a set of plans that maybe shows drainage being addressed to not go on the neighbor's property, or somehow condition that?
I mean, look, Brian, I don't have a problem with requiring stamp plans from any plan.
I know you don't. I know, it's us, not you.
If the board requires that, by all means, I'm gonna work with people to get that, certainly. In this case, it was, honestly, I'm gonna be quite honest, this was the middle of the pandemic. you know, that she applied, that they started working. It's a homeowner permit. I've been working very closely with Amy. My staff has been working very closely with Amy over the last 3 years to get this job done. She and her husband have been contracting this themselves and running this job themselves, and that's been difficult. They've had some tough contractors that they've had to let go and get new contractors, you know, and it's always difficult as a homeowner because you don't have the right people kind of already in place, you know. So they've had a tough go of it. They've been trying to do everything correctly. I know it's been going on for a long time. I know it's an eyesore to the neighborhood. I know everybody would rather just have a very pristine, clean, historical neighborhood with no construction going on. But the case is that this is a homeowner permit. I'm working with them to do this. I don't think that anything that they've done is any more non-conforming than any structure that has been on there in the past. I don't think they've violated anything of the previous special permit. I do believe everything can be captured in an as-built. I've seen no evidence of erosion or drainage or any kind of, you know, negative impact on any neighboring property as far as that goes. Nobody's presented any evidence of that, and I haven't seen any of that. So that's kind of where I'm at with this property. But if the board requires them to get a certified as-built moving forward, then certainly that's their prerogative, and you can require that.
Anybody else from the audience?
Does anyone else have anything?
I have a few more questions.
Sure, go ahead.
So I keep hearing the term as-built. Can you explain to me what that means?
So that's why you wouldn't be able to have one prior to the construction. You would have a proposed set of plans, and then, that's what we saw, was the proposed set of plans. And then what's on the ground there is the as-built. So that captures what they built.
And yeah, an as-built essentially is the as-built environment. Everything as it has been built. All the existing setbacks to all the structures, all the side lot lines. It'll show the location of any driveways and walkways. It'll show the location of the septic. All of that. That's what we're looking for when we say an as-built.
So Andrew, if the neighbor's concern is water, all the runoff from there is captured on the property anyways, right? From the new roofs or areas that they...
I haven't seen any evidence at all that any of the post-construction runoff is any more detrimental to the neighborhood than it was beforehand.
Prior, okay.
Have you had issues with?
No,
I mean,
I have drainage issues, yeah, I do.
because of her?
No,
Stuff?
no,
Okay.
we have drainage issues in this neighborhood. Everybody's got sump pumps. It's, you know, it's not, it's not unusual, but it's a problem in this neighborhood. If he could zoom in again, though.
Andrew, could you zoom in again, please? Thank you.
Where's the fill they brought in for a reference?
See where that patio is? That whole back lawn is,
Patio. The ground level patio?
Is that white?
Light gray.
yeah, it's that back lawn is all,
Ground level?
What are you saying about the back lawn? I'm confused.
back lawn's about
Saying they
8 feet
filled.
higher than what it used to.
Andrew, do you have anything
oh.
that goes back further to show the fill? How far back do we go?
I mean, they raised the level of the property, which is, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just saying, the new structure is gonna come directly towards my property. And right now, there's a hole where the barn is, where the old barn used to be, okay? So I'm concerned if they go and raise it, I guess I'm asking a question, is there any restriction or any concern on the part of this board about the level of the property?
Well, yeah, Andrew would make sure they're not allowed to shed water onto your property. Correct,
That doesn't
Andrew?
answer my question, though. Like, do you worry, does the building inspector worry about the height of the property?
He
The
did
height?
He did reference that. He said he's seen no sign of any erosion or any water leaving the property.
He said that he believes that the post-build and the prior build, there's no change in the
I mean,
Yeah,
water.
you're not,
looking at these photos from when the project started to now, I'm seeing substantial improvement. I mean, it's been 3 years, but as Andrew pointed out, with the homeowner's permit, the pandemic that everybody dealt with, we've had numerous people come in for extensions on permits that have taken longer than.
Well, you don't need an extension, it
That's
just
what's going
applies.
on.
Is there a grading plan anywhere? Like, to show any of this grading issue that, or grading of the property at all?
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
So where the barn was is pretty much level with the house. So we were just going to keep the garage pretty much at the same level. And John's property is a lot higher than ours. So I don't see why
It's not.
it's the same.
Anybody else have anything new from, I don't know.
Can I ask one more?
Sure.
One more question before we move on? So given the size of this structure, I think it's 40, almost 40 feet deep. I think it was 37 feet if I read the plans correctly. As long as this is conforming, is there any restriction on the size of the dwelling that can be, or the
No,
building?
it's just the percentage of coverage on the lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Stefano Santini, 534 Pleasant Street, an abutting property. I just would like the board for consideration is the intent of getting this garage, and I have no problem with it, but the end goal is to ultimately the removal of those 18-wheelers as well as the cherry picker that is abutting the sidewalk as well. Just want to, is that going to be considered as we're moving forward on the completion of this, and can we put any time frame around the removal of those?
Andrew, wouldn't, do the containers get to run with the permit?
I mean, we have subdivisions with containers that have been there for 10 years. I mean, we have, I honestly, construction trailers is a select board issue. Quite honestly, it's covered under the select board rules.
Yeah. But it's allowed for what, is it allowed for what they're doing?
It's allowed.
Yeah.
There really is no specific bylaw on storage containers, or trailers, detached trailers that are being used for temporary construction storage. I mean, there is a bit about storage, and you've got 6 months for different things, or a year for other types of living trailers, but it's difficult. Obviously, I've run into this situation all over town where people are storing things in a temporary storage pod while they're building an addition or doing work on the house. So I get that it's kind of a disturbance to the neighborhood. It's unsightly. I understand all of that. It is a condition that I run into constantly all over town with every neighbor to a construction project. It's difficult, but I'm doing my best to help Amy get this project completed. It's been tough. She's had tough contractors that she's dealt with. They're trying to do it themselves. But I feel like they are doing the right things. I've got to say about Amy, one thing, Amy has been absolutely communicative with our department constantly, just asking us what she needs to do, constantly in touch with us, getting us over there to do inspections. Probably the most communicative permit that we have dealt with in the last 3 years, I gotta say that. So I don't have problems with this project as far as all of that goes. As far as the actual construction of it goes, we don't have any concerns as far as grading and drainage and stuff right now. We have not discerned that there have been any problems. We have not been made aware of any problems from any of the others to this point. So this is the first time I'm hearing those concerns anything other than just the fact that the construction's been going on for a very, very long time.
And to meet their concerns, you would make sure in the end, with an as-built, that before you sign off, that there's no draining of water shedding water onto other properties, right?
100%, just the way I do with every other
Every
property.
person.
Absolutely.
So Andrew, with, I guess back to my question of, at the completion of the project, is the expectation that the cherry picker and the trailers are going to be removed, and the garage is for the storage of the items in those trailers and for the storage of the cherry picker?
That's correct, and if they are not, then by all means, you have every right to issue or to do a request for enforcement to have the accessory storage, the accessory storage of those materials to be removed from the property if they're non-conforming. I mean, by all means.
And that's, how long after the completion of the project is the leeway, just for my own information?
I don't think there's any set time, but obviously they're gonna move the stuff into the garage and then they'll get rid of the storage trailers, I would assume. Go ahead, Amy.
The high reach is for painting the house. So when the house is done,
It's gone.
obviously I want to sell it.
So it's gone.
Are you planning on selling the trailers as well?
Yeah, or give them away for free. Yeah, I don't want them there.
So how long are you thinking this project is gonna take?
I'm not sure. It seems like there's a lot of,
Just how long, if it got approved, how long would you think this project would
I would
possibly
think no longer than a year to build a garage.
Okay.
Can the trailers be possibly moved to another part of the property? If it's so even and
I don't
straight?
think so because it's actually on a hill. We had filled, as they said, somebody had removed all the dirt to do a clay tennis court. So we just sort of filled that and then maybe filled a couple feet higher so it's not so, it's kind of leveling down. But there was this big ditch type of area.
We had a
behind the
similar
house.
situation, and they worked it out where they could move the trailers somewhat out of the sight of the neighbor. You don't think that's feasible? Out
I don't
behind the
know.
house, or?
It's sort of, well, they'd have to, I mean, we're gonna, hopefully, we'll be allowed to build a garage there, so, you can't move them back and then the garage would
'Cause you
be
wouldn't be able to
obstructing
get 'em
getting
out.
them out.
Yeah. All right.
It's not feasible to put that anywhere else on the property.
All right, thank you, Andrew. All right.
Thank you for the consideration.
You wanna do a visit?
Any other questions?
Can we continue it and do a visit?
Heidi would like to continue and do a
I know
site
it might
visit.
sound ridiculous, but Jeannie and I would like to.
Heidi and Jeannie would like to do a site visit.
I would like to go out and see it. I realize that, Andrew, you think this is just cut and dry, but for some reason, I've got alarm bells going off and I can't really explain it. But I think that not having a stamped plan, not having any grading, people are coming up with issues that I just want to make sure that, we're doing the right thing, because
I have no
think
problem
it's-
extending this with a site visit.
It seems like everyone here wants the addition to happen, but they want it to happen correctly. So why don't we just?
Yeah. So, Nancy, could we continue this with a site visit?
Yes, the next meeting is the 14th, so it's two things. So you can continue it to this 14th, and then
Get the
the
site
week
visit in
before,
between.
we could post the public meeting for the site visit, whatever date you decide.
Okay. So why don't we figure out a date for a site visit, and
Do you want to do the 7th?
we'll continue to the 14th.
Do you want to do a site visit on the 7th? Which is a week before
When's
the
the
meeting?
7th?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday before the,
do you have anything that you want to add? While we're figuring that out, do you want to talk?
So like accessory trailers, you have to be 25 feet off a lot line. I don't know whether those are. Front lot line, and then 10 feet off any other lot line. Other than that, there's no restriction on where they go. They've been there for a long time. It sounds to me like some people are upset about that, but maybe there's no other place for them to go.
I mean, 25 and 10, that you can just turn them straight,
I mean,
in the same spot, so it's
Yeah.
like.
You know, I'm probably the one that points it out to you every single time, that you should have a plan showing setbacks. It looks, I tend to agree with Andrew. Looks like it will comply. I mean, I don't know anything about drainage. There's no marks on there. And one gentleman says maybe it's gonna drain on his property. I don't know the elevations there. I mean, a plan, I mean, most people show us an existing conditions plan, a proposed conditions plan, where it's gonna be. You know, sometimes we defer that until the construction is done, when it's obvious that they're not gonna be further away. You know, I trust Andrew, he scales it off, it looks
Yeah.
probably right, but, you know, the grading is kinda, who knows?
I think that's why a site visit will answer this question for all
I
of
think
us.
I mean, if the next door neighbor to the right's property is higher, I mean, probably not gonna have any grading impact or drainage impact on the property. Okay. I just don't,
Field is, but my side yard is not.
Oh, in the back?
so, I mean, I can't tell on the basis of the information.
Right.
So we're gonna plan a site visit to, hopefully on the 7th. That's okay with you, Amy?
I don't have my calendar, I'm sure it's fine.
All right.
It's a Tuesday.
Tuesday. So, all right, Andrew, so we're gonna continue on a move to continue to the 14th with a site
Do you want to pick
visit
a time for the,
on the 7th. We're gonna have to go before the light goes down.
That's right.
Well, pretty soon, I don't know if it's November 1st, that's daylight savings
Yeah,
time, then
daylight
it's dark at 4:30, so
3 o'clock?
3 o'clock.
better do it before then.
So 3 o'clock on the 7th.
It's election day.
Election day?
Election, it's in my calendar.
We'll go vote and then go.
All right,
On our way to vote.
all right, so
we'll
a
stop by.
second, the motion to move to the 14th with a site visit on the 7th at 3 PM. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Rob Ramsey, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Kelly, aye.
Jean Lee, aye.
Steve Heaney, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Thank you. So we'll continue the meeting to the 14th. We'll do a site visit on the 7th, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do from there.
Thank you.
Is that it?
we have a couple of minutes from last meeting.
Oh, to approve minutes? Larry,
Approve the minutes from October 10th, 2023.
second?
All in favor? Aye.
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 Excuse me, I just had a quick question.
We're not done yet, I don't think. Can you hold on, we're finishing up, just one second. Are we done? I didn't.
No, did you vote?
No.
Go ahead.
Aye.
Aye. What was your question?
Yeah, sorry about that. Graham Edwards, I live across the street as well. And my question was regarding the Easy Up, I think she referenced it as. It's the cherry picker on the lot. That is parked on the sidewalk, and I've only lived there for about a year and a half now. It's been on that sidewalk almost the entire year and a half I've lived there.
So if you want to provide some
Yeah.
information for us with
Yeah.
that, and are you going to be at the site visit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I,
You're
can
gonna see it at the
I,
site
can I
visit.
comment on that?
This is just a photo of, you know, the everyday walk.
Andrew, go ahead.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Can I comment on that? It's tough because the sidewalks are not under my jurisdiction, quite honestly. That is a police matter. So if there is something that is obstructing a sidewalk or a public way, you've got to contact the police department. It's not something that's at all under my jurisdiction or this board's jurisdiction.
Okay.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
What's that?
Can we keep your paper?
Yeah, please.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, I got cut off. All right, thank you guys.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian,
Ramsey, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Kelly, aye, sorry.
Jean Lee?
Aye.
Jane Lee.
Steve Heaney, aye.
Thank you.
He was talking.
No.